this week we're talking about Super Saiyan 4, the transformation as a whole, and whether or not we think it should return and become canon, I guess, in Dragon Ball. So, what's your initial thoughts?
It was bound to happen. It was bound that we had to talk about it eventually, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And this is the time.
I think it would be difficult to find a place for it at the minute, especially in Super.
Hmm.
Um, I think in the current timeline, I don't think there is a place for it, especially with things like Ultra Instinct. I
Yeah.
think based on that alone, my initial thought would be no. Um, but in terms of the actual, I've never been a huge fan of it, and that's not just because of the whole I like GT, I don't like GT,
Hmm.
whatever. That's a whole point. A person's feelings on GT. This is just Super Saiyan 4 as a whole.
Hmm.
I've things such as how obtaining Super Saiyan 4, how that would flow into Super. I don't really know how that would really work as
Yeah,
well.
I guess.
Lutz
But
waves, I think
yeah,
I would struggle with.
I mean, as a whole, I like the look of the form, but that's
Mhm.
about it. I mean,
Yeah,
the way you need to achieve the form, I don't think would work in Dragon Ball, and I think if they were to bring it back, they would need a different way to
it would
achieve
need a
the form.
rework. Yeah.
Yeah, because having the whole Blitz Waves thing, it won't make sense because why would they go through that effort to get the transformation when things like Ultra Instinct are now a thing, and even Super Saiyan God is maybe better than it anyway, potentially. Um, because all the Super Saiyan 4 is like it makes you slightly taller and more muscular, and it gives you the strength and speed of a great ape. Um, but you keep your form. You don't look like a great ape anymore. The hair slightly gets longer as well, but that's about it. Um, but yeah, I feel like even though it's Super Saiyan 4, so in GT they obviously needed to make it better than Super Saiyan 3. Um, is it really though? If you think about it, is it really like obviously they needed to make it more powerful, but on the scale of things, like is being as powerful as a great ape better than being Super Saiyan 3? Like we seen the power of great apes with Vegeta turning into a great ape, with Gohan turning into a great ape, Goku as well, I guess, as well during the Dragon Ball like OG series, and they've all been managed pretty well. Like yes, they're powerful. I wouldn't really say they're very fast though, but their power, I think, can be stopped by Super Saiyan 3. You would think at this stage,
Yeah.
or maybe it's just the user. Like maybe Goku is just too strong in Super Saiyan 3 compared to what a Great Ape is now. Like if he had that form back in the Saiyan Saga, maybe I don't know.
I just think that Super in itself is dwarfed
Hmm.
the need for anything such as Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
I think even if there was a full rework of 4, there would have to be some form of God inclination put into it. They would have to
Mm,
make so there would I don't think they could call it Super Saiyan 4 anymore. I think it would have to be Super
yeah.
Saiyan 4 without calling it Super Saiyan 4. So they could keep the design almost.
Mhm.
They could have the transformation. Yeah. So they could have kind of a throwback to the need for them to. So let's say they still need to the Saiyans think, okay, so I've achieved Super Saiyan Blue. How
Mhm.
can I step beyond this? How can I go further?
Yeah.
I know I can harken back to my roots and I can embrace the Zaru and I can embrace the Great Ape and I can
Mhm.
take that power and I can be stronger still.
Mm.
I can use the Great Ape power and control that, but as a god.
Yeah.
That could potentially work. So then you've got god power with the further power of the Zaru. Potentially,
Potentially.
but I think that's reaching. I think
Yeah.
that's the only way that they could arguably bring it. Whether or not that's a good idea is a whole other thing, and I personally don't think it is. But I think that would be the only way they could do it. I think that's the only way it could be brought in is
Mm,
if they were just trying to. I think it would be more of an homage, but I think a lot of people wouldn't like it. I think
mm,
they should just stick to what they've done in the mangas. Let Goku follow down his Ultra Instinct path. Let Vegeta stick down his new path
yeah.
of Super Duper Blue. Like
Ultra
I don't,
Ego is now the new form of Vegeta.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, just Super Duper Blue. I'll stick with that. I prefer that name. I don't think things like that
Yeah.
would need
Well,
to be.
let me ask you a question. How many Saiyans currently have tails? Is Does Broly have a tail? I don't.
Yes,
Does he?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Broly has a tail. Kaba also has a tail. Correct.
No, no, they don't have them at all.
Oh no, they don't, do they?
His
But
universe doesn't have them.
it's just
The entire
Broly.
universe doesn't.
Yeah, because none of the half Saiyans like Gohan, Trunks, and they don't have tails. Gohan's got removed. Uh,
Trunks was
Trunks
never addressed.
Trunks never had one. Goten never had one. Pan never had one. Um, yeah, Broly's the only Saiyan currently with a tail. I think. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I was thinking that
I think he has one wrapped around his.
I honestly
I
can't remember. I
can't
remember
remember.
the like the ear of that giant
Yeah,
animal thing around his waist, and
I remember.
I can't remember if it covers up a tail or if he has the tail as like a belt to keep that on.
I think he
I
does.
honestly can't
Not
remember.
100% sure. But anyway,
Let's say he does for argument's sake.
yeah.
I think Super Saiyan 4 could work for him just because he's got a tail, and I think this could be a form for any Saiyans that have tails. I think if they were to bring it back, the only way they could tease it is by having him transform into a great ape because of the moon. And Broly is like the perfect candidate because he is strong already. He's buff. Like he's the closest thing to a great ape anyway, just in looks alone, just because of his stature. And he doesn't really have any transformations. Like he's got the one to go Super Saiyan, and it's like the green glow. It's like the Rage Saiyan. That's his transformation. That's his one.
He is Rage incarnate, basically, which
Yeah,
is what the great apes are, aren't they really?
exactly. So I think it's perfect. Have him go rage when there's a full moon. He's trying to turn into the great ape, and somehow he manages to control that with the rage, and he turns into Super Saiyan 4, but it's named something else, and it's a different form for him. But it's bringing Super Saiyan 4 back. He has the red fur skin. Um, I think it could work, and they could have the same design but have it on Broly, and it could work. Just rename it. It doesn't need to be Super Saiyan 4 because it wouldn't make sense for it to be called Super Saiyan 4 in this case. It could just be like the Great Ape form or something like that. Um, change the name, but you could have it as a transformation for Broly, and that could be like since Goku has Ultra Instinct, Vegeta has this new like Ultra Ego thing. Broly's could be this Ultra Ape form potentially,
Yeah,
and that
and,
could be it.
and that could be what he's training for
Yeah,
on
to
the planet.
control the power of the ape, the great ape. Yeah,
I mean, Vegeta could be helping him with it because Vegeta can control it.
yeah,
Literally, like he is able to control it, and Whis can help him
Hmm.
step beyond it. It's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. Because we already know that Broly struggles to control his anger and rage, and when he's going all out, he can't really concentrate on anything but attack. And the great ape form makes you like go into a frenzy anyway, and you can't really control the great ape form easily. So the rage form with the great ape for Broly, that's going to be an enormous task for him to control. So yeah, it makes sense him trying to control that form.
Because I'll be interested. I know they've said pretty much that Goku and Vegeta are going to be taking a back step in the film,
Hmm.
the upcoming film, which makes sense. But they've shown that Broly's going to be there.
Yeah.
But I mean, how much can they really drag out him struggling to control his anger? Like,
Mm,
it'll get a bit boring if they just keep saying, "Oh, but he's really angry. Oh, but he's really angry." Like, there's
yeah,
going to have to be something more than that.
exactly. Like I don't imagine it happening in the film, but if they were
Yeah,
to bring back Dragon Ball Super, like as a series, or like another show, another Dragon Ball show to continue on, they could do an arc of Broly training and that type of thing. It can even just be like a background secondary arc of him training whilst the main arc's going on.
yeah.
Um, it's not going to happen within a film. It's too
No.
short of a period of time, but yeah, they can easily spread it out over a TV show.
Yeah, I think there's no way they'll just sit on just him doing that, like
Mm,
just being angry all the time. Like, I
yeah.
think something like this would be reasonable to do that,
Mhm.
and I think something like that is it would have to be reworked. There was no way they could bring it in just as is. I think in terms of how Super Saiyan 4 is now, it's a dead form.
Yeah.
It's Super Saiyan 3 was brought back for the Tournament of Power as fan service, nothing more. I
Yeah.
I think I think there was no they didn't need to bring it back. There was no real reason to bring it back. I mean, technically, when he was fighting Caulifla and Kale, he was trying to conserve energy
Mm,
to get, and that's the only reason he was slowly fighting them and he was struggling to fight them.
yeah.
Turning Super Saiyan 3 massively drains your energy, so arguably he never should have used it. So it was fan service. It was
Mm,
100% fan service, and it was great. Don't get me wrong; it looked cool, and
yeah.
they spent a huge amount of budget animation on that one shot.
Yeah.
um, but um, but I really like the shot, but it was pure fan service, and it never should have come back. And I think it's the same for Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
It's a dead form, and I think if something like that's going to come back, it would need reworking,
Mm,
but otherwise, it should, in my opinion, be left in the
yeah.
dust.
Exactly. Like there is too many forms now. Super brought in probably one too many. Like the Red God form, that's already redundant. It's not needed. It was used as a cool new form for the film when it first came out, the Battle of Gods film. But apart from that, they were like, oh, well, what do we do with it now? We don't really need it anymore. Let's do Super Saiyan Blue instead. Um, so,
And they fan serviced it. They fan serviced it in Broly for Vegeta, and that was it.
yeah. And I really like the Red God form because, it changes their appearance by making them all skinny, which is cool. And Blue is just, they look the same, but they've got blue hair. But yeah, they have too many forms now from Super Saiyan 2, 3, God, Blue, Ultra Instinct. That's 6 forms alone. And yeah,
Oh, they've
it's,
got OGU now with Vegeta, so they've added another.
yeah. So,
So they've added two paths
hmm,
now, so they can't even decide what direction.
exactly. That's why I think they shouldn't bring it back because, well, yeah, they shouldn't bring it back for anyone apart from Broly to have because that's too many different forms for someone like Goku to be able to do. He's got 5 of them that are redundant now. Like he'll probably go Super Saiyan and Ultra Instinct, and that'll probably be it. Them are the only 2 he'll ever use now, or probably Super Saiyan Blue as well. So 3 forms maybe. All the other 3 he'll never use. So have it on Broly. He's got the Rage form. Give him Super Saiyan 4 as well, and that's kind of all he needs. Why not?
Share the love.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're kind of in agreement. It shouldn't come back. But I wouldn't mind it coming back if it's just for Broly.
In the right circumstances.
Yeah. And no more Bloodswave stuff. Like, that's. No.
Nonsense.
Let's not do that. Let's rework it so you can get that form some other way.
Bulma, stay away. Stay away.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we've talked about this long enough. Should Super Saiyan 4 come back? Maybe, in the right circumstances. But anyway, let's move on now to the Hall of Fame.